Hello kids, this is Mr. Whistler with your video lesson of the day, and today we are going to talk about the California Gold Rush. Our first word today is 49er, and these were those who came to California looking for gold and arrived in 1849. People who were part of the gold rush in 1849. This increased the population of California very quickly because 80,000 people came to California in 1849. Our second word is vigilante. These are people who take the law into their own hands. People who act as police, judge, jury, and sometimes executioner. Creates a lawless environment. We don't have a sheriff.
Well then, we'll have to catch those crooks ourselves.
Alright, California Gold Rush. On January 24th, 1848, a guy by the name of James Marshall discovered gold while building a sawmill on the South Fork of the American River, about 35 miles from Sacramento. Well, he went and talked to his boss, and his boss said, "Don't tell anybody," and 2 weeks later, everybody in the country knew. So, the California Gold Rush was underway. In 1849, 80,000 people came, and they were called the 49ers. That's where the San Francisco 49ers get their nickname from. Men from all walks of life came. Lawyers, doctors, priests, left their careers to dig for gold. And this always surprises me that lawyers and doctors and all these people that usually make a lot of money came. The power of gold on people's minds was very strong. So now 80% of the people that came to California were Americans, but others came from Mexico, South America, Europe, Australia, and Asia. So, they came from all over the world. Because gold seekers came from all over the world, California developed a very diverse population. There were all kinds of different nationalities living in California because of the gold rush. Alright, boom towns erupted during the gold rush. In 1848, there might have been one or two houses in a place. A year later, there were 1,000 houses in a town. San Francisco went from a small village to a city of 20,000 quickly. Because of the gold rush, San Francisco became a thriving city. The California Gold Rush more than doubled the world's gold supply. I thought this was interesting. People have been on the earth for 6,000 or 7,000 years, and in that 6,000 years they accumulated so much gold. All these people that lived on the earth accumulated so much gold, and then in a 4 or 5 year period during the California Gold Rush, it more than doubled the world's gold supply. So there was a lot of gold up in them there hills. Most gold miners, though, found little or no gold and did not become wealthy. Those who did lost their riches a lot of times through gambling or wild spending. The people who really made out from the gold rush were the merchants. They made huge profits. The guys that were smart enough to set up shop and sell goods to the miners, they didn't have to do the hard work, and all they had to do was sit there and the miners would bring them their gold. Levi's came about during the gold rush. They're based in San Francisco, and gold miners had pants, but the pockets would always rip, and Levi Strauss came up with the idea to put rivets on those pockets to hold them together, and Levi's were born, and he became a millionaire. Alright, gold rush society, mining camps. There weren't very many women, and these mining camps were lonely places with little to do but gamble, fight, and drink. These camps lacked law and order. Murders and robberies were frequent, and self-appointed law enforcers dealt with criminals. Vigilante law. They acted as police, judge, jury, and sometimes executioners. Well, the gold rush ended within a few years, but it had long-lasting effects on California's economy. Agriculture, shipping, and trade had to be expanded to meet the miners' needs. I mean, think about it. You went from 20,000 in the whole state to 80,000 more in just 1 year. They were going to need more food. They were going to need more everything. So after the gold rush was over, many miners stayed in California, and they just got different jobs. Some of them became farmers. Some of them just went to work wherever they could. So in 1848, the population increased from 20,000 to 220,000 only 4 years later. All right. Joseph Smith founded the Mormon Church in 1830 in New York. And he was inspired to build an ideal society. Well, the early Mormons practiced polygamy, which is the idea that a man could have more than one wife. This angered many people, and the Mormons were forced out of New York. Well, they went to Ohio, then they went to Missouri, then they went to Illinois. And their leader, Joseph Smith, was finally killed by an angry mob in Illinois. So their leader, Brigham Young, took over, and he thought that they should find a place where they could safely practice their religion. So he decided to head west. And the route that they used was called the Mormon Trail, and it passed through several states, including Iowa, Nebraska, and Wyoming, until they ended up in the Salt Lake area in the Rocky Mountains. The Mormon migration was the single largest migration in American history. Probably the Trail of Tears was the second single largest, but the Mormon migration was the largest. And there were 12,000 Mormons headed west, and the reason they left was for religious freedom. And that's pretty much the gold rush, kids. It's kind of an abbreviated version. But I'd like you guys to do the Westward Expansion quiz number 2. And that's it. Have a great day.